morning, everybody. Welcome into another Everyday Growth Advisors pre-market live stream. Hope you guys are having a good morning. Hello, hello. Nice beats on Amazon. Nice beats across the board for big tech. What a surprising turn of events. Apple 2 beating. That was a really good earnings by majority of big tech here. So we have Microsoft, Apple, Google. We also had Visa beat earnings, but not like a huge margin. Pretty decent, I would say, and quite surprising. We were obviously, because we were expecting majority of these companies to, report poorly or guide poorly, and they did anything but that. So it's been a pretty interesting earnings season so far. Of course, looking at the technicals, which is how we always start off, we had a huge, strong rally. Now, what's driving this rally? What is the reason we are heading up and into the stratosphere? Well, there are simple few mechanics that are working at play here. As I've been mentioning for about a week now, we are in a massive short squeeze, right? A lot of people were short here, a lot of people were short here, a lot of people more were short here, and then some got trapped here. And then once we started rallying up here, the shorts started to cover. And when the shorts cover, you can see the momentum starts to switch. You can see that the momentum here was kind of choppy on the way up and kind of choppy on the way up here as well. But then momentum starts to become more clearer and more robust as we start to hit higher and higher here, because more and more shorts are covering and scrambling to get exposure in the undervalued equities. On top of that, you have pressures from a dollar index, which is decreasing, and you have the VIX, which is breaking down from this trend line. Excuse me. So there is a lot of things that are going on at the same time, which is kind of partially fueling this rally. Looking back at the dollar index, you can see that the dollar has retreated back from its 109 back to 106. And if you go back into the weekly here, you'll see that we're now forming this little wave down on the dollar index after such a huge run-up, which is good for equity pricing, right? We saw that this was initially bad, and now we're turning back, and even inflation is coming down in terms of these risky assets such as gold, copper, and as gold starts to rebound here, it might be a good time to pick up some gold exposure if we can get a bounce here. I've been talking about gold for about 2 weeks now and been waiting for this bounce to take this upside. It might be finally time to play this rebound on gold and take some upside on gold, take some risk here, and wait for the bounce on 165 or so before we take some exposure on gold. That's another one trade that I'll be looking at probably maybe today or even next week. There is no rush. There's a lot of upside here. There's no point to try and chase it, but just keep your bias non-objective so far, and just keep it chill. So let's look back at the technicals on SPX. We've been following this chart for a long time. Ignore all the lines that you see. I mean, they're all just key pivot points. The softer dotted lines are more softer pivot points. The harder lines which are solid lines, yellow lines, are going to be tougher pivots. And then obviously these zones, if you're not aware, the white ones are dual zones, which are supply and demand zones. That's just some key things about the chart that you're looking at. This box below here is the SPX fair value estimate range, and we're trading above the estimate range in terms of where earnings are currently. So another thing that adds fuel to this rally now is the fact that remember that majority of these big techs that are reporting earnings and doing well, they're getting bought up, right? So stocks like Microsoft, which rallied crazy over the past 2 trading sessions, we caught a piece of this yesterday, and then Amazon opening up almost 13% after hours here, after earnings, right? Huge move. These are all mega cap stocks. And remember that SPX and NASDAQ, they are both cap weighted indexes. So which means that the market cap of these stocks will be dictating the quantity or the weight of the stock within the index. And the higher the weight there is, the more capability it has to swing that index. So we're seeing a lot of that price action pushing these indexes up, because these bigger market cap stocks are pushing the indices up, and then shorts covering at the same time. And then you have the stock market kind of leading the indicator for the economy. Remember, the economy is not the stock market, and the stock market is not the economy. In fact, the stock market is a leading indicator of the economy. And now, since I've been talking about this for, I don't know, I think almost like a week and a half now, inflation at the current print that it was is largely being priced in to be the peak But we don't know if it is going to be the peak. And quite frankly, we don't have to care if it is the peak. We just need to confirm that price action is indeed moving higher highs, higher lows. And if we can, confirm above this 4,200 level, then that gives us a strong signal that the bull rally is back. Right now, we have some hurdles to cross as bulls, right? Not saying that I'm a bull yet, but I'm just saying that if we were to go and cross over to the bull side, then we have to cross 4140 and close above it. We have to come and touch 4200 and close above it. And this range is just a very important range for us to cross as a hurdle. There's a very, very likely chance that we come up to here and find some kind of supply that's going to drive the market down, because after such a huge run up, we are likely to see stocks like Microsoft, for example, pull back, right? Look at the run on Microsoft. It's been insane. So these stocks have to pull back. They have to show us that demand is still strong at a higher level. So where it was prior and, at these inverted levels over here, we need to see that demand bounces at these higher levels, at 268, at 264, somewhere around here. When Microsoft comes down, then demand stays stable and we get bounces here for the next upside wave. But remember that what goes up must come down temporarily. It's just like, like everything in the world, okay? So don't chase anything here. There is no reason to chase anything here. And then I know the next question is going to be, so should we go short on the market now because it's run up so much? Well, you could go short, but remember that if you are going short, you are only going to be taking positions in the capacity of hedging your portfolio, which means to say you have long-term positioning, you have equity positioning that you're trying to buy insurance against, and then that way you can take a 1 month out options premium that's not going to decay too radically, and buy some cheap out the money puts, which is what big institutions were doing for the past couple of weeks. If you guys realize, majority of the time, it came to our attention, even in Discord, a lot of people were forwarding like, wow, look, there's so much of SPY flow, there's so much of SPX flow that they're buying, like millions and millions of dollars of put options. And then the next day is what follows, even more upside action, right? Even more upside. The market just keeps going higher and higher. And I bet many of you, I don't know if this is true, but let me know in the comments right now since you're listening, how many of you have been having your head scratched, wondering why you keep seeing bearish options flow, but then the market keeps going higher? How many of you have been having that head scratcher? By the way, thank you for tuning into the live stream. I appreciate you guys being here. Remember to smash the like button if you're here, and I appreciate you guys taking the time. Remember, these streams are gold. If you turn up, there is bound to be information that you learn, and also at the same time, we share opportunities openly over here. You don't have to be a part of the Discord if you don't want to. You can easily turn up for this live streams and you'll learn as much, okay? So I always say consistency is important, and turning up for the live streams, they are going to be very, very, very well paid off. But I really, truly do appreciate you guys, being consistent, being here. And I know that it's probably the same handful of you turning up, and I appreciate that, seriously. Okay, so let's talk about another thing here now. Let's look at QQQ, which is the NASDAQ, right? If you don't want to look at QQQ, you can also look at the NASDAQ 100 or NAS 100 USD. And on NAS 100 USD, it's a similar chart to QQQ. I'm just pulling this one up because it's more complete in price action. I did mention that this level right here, 12,814, was a key level for us to pivot from, and we needed to close above this for tech to truly get bullish, or rather for our market to start ripping higher, right? Remember that in SPX, the biggest allocation in capital is still technology, right? And NASDAQ is the home to majority of those tech stocks. And so when we see that breakout here and we see the bounces coming down from these levels, up from about $13,000, we will be able to see the NASDAQ start to pivot into these upsides. So as of right now, we still don't have that confirmation, and we're still trading in a range on NASDAQ, okay? You have to keep this in the back of your mind, because this is a really important point to note. Even though SPX is turning bullish, NASDAQ has not actually turned fully bullish yet. Okay, we did see a peak of it yesterday during the trading close, but we have not seen NASDAQ fully peak out of its bullish reversal here. So we still have to be extremely careful as we move into the next week's trading session, okay? Now, a couple other things that I should mention, because we didn't cover since the last live trading session, and we had FOMC, okay? Remember, during the FOMC meeting, there were some key things mentioned by Powell. So let me just go through them with you, and you can see for yourself, right? So there was no mention of potential Biden administration tariff reduction in the White House readout. U.S. Treasury Secretary, this is the day before, my bad. Let me just go into yesterday's. There we go. This one. So Fed Powell's remarks. I do not think the U.S. is currently in a recession. Fed Powell also said these recent hikes have been large and come quickly, and the full effect not felt yet. So they're talking about the rate hikes. Read this one specifically. Another unusually large increase in rates could be appropriate. It depends on data. The Fed themselves is kind of confused at this point, right? They don't actually know if their inflationary tactics are working. Their deflationary tactics are working. They're waiting for data, right? And remember the print on CPI from last rate hike, it's lagging. Remember that CPI is always lagging a month. So when we get it, it's like the month before. So the CPI print that we just got was for June, and then next month we'll get it for July, right? So we're kind of lagging with CPI data. That's one thing that you really have to remember. And so when we get the next CPI data, we're going to know if inflation's actually being tamed or not. But there are signs that inflation is cooling. One of the things is that commodities are cooling, and that's, a big discussion that people are having. Now, Fed funds rate futures forecast a 3.4% Fed rate in December after the 75 basis point rate hike, and 107 basis point tightening is seen for the remainder of 2022. That means that there is well over a 100 basis point rate hike on the table if that is a possibility. Okay. So then after that, they had the decision, it was a 75 basis point rate hike, which was very well, this was already well documented, and we already knew this was going to happen, right? So that's not something that we are really surprised about. So from a macro standpoint, we still don't have enough data to make an educated guess about the situation. But we do know that a couple of key things are happening. The first thing that's happening is bond appetite is coming back. That's a good thing, right? But then the Fed's still going to have their bond tapering program go on, and therefore, if they do further tightening, then the bonds are going to take another, another sell-off, right? Because then the expectation of more selling happens, and that's, you got to understand the dynamics of the bond market here. I'm not going to get too much into that. We'll talk about that on Monday, because I'm planning to do a little bit of a analysis, and we'll go through bonds on Monday. I'll kind of go through the understanding the bond market, because remember that when the bond market sneezes, the whole equity market catches a flu, right? So that's something that you will have to kind of read up on, and I'll cover it on Monday. Okay. So from a technical perspective, NASDAQ still hasn't broken out into a bull trend, but SPX is looking like it's making higher highs so far, okay? So far, we're looking like we broke out of a temporary downtrend, and we're kind of facing upward. So if SPX kind of leads the market here, then NASDAQ is lagging. That's what's happening here, okay? So you got to know how to interpret what you're seeing in the charts, know how to interpret what the market's doing, and then also how you're going to take advantage of this. So if NASDAQ is indeed lagging, then there is one sector that you have to specifically look at to play the tech rally. Does anybody know what sector that is? Let's see if people know. I'm pretty sure. If there are EGA students here, you will definitely know what I'm talking about right now, right? So EGA students, if you're here, tell me what sector I'm talking about. If you really want to take advantage of the tech sector rallying, what is the sector that we're talking about? And in the meantime, drop it in the comments in the chat right now, right? Chat, so that I can, I can know that you guys are listening. Because right now, nobody said anything, and I feel kind of like I'm talking to nobody. How are you guys doing? Good morning. Has anybody got coffee yet? Well, I'm already feeling all jiggly. SMH, that's right. Semiconductors, very well done. Yes. So that's the sector, right? And we're seeing the confluence here along with the charts as well, right? So SMH. So semiconductors is what you want to look at when you're looking at a rally for NASDAQ, right? Because it is one of the first sectors that lifts off when you look at tech in general. Okay, so now let's look at a couple of charts from semis, right? First is SMH, which is the semiconductor ETF. So then this, you got to also go find out what this SMH ETF contains, right? SMH ETF holdings. You gotta do all, you gotta really look up this stuff sometimes, right? Because if you don't, then you're never gonna know. So I'm just gonna pull it up for you guys so that you guys actually understand what's in this stuff, right? So that you guys can kind of get a feel and you understand. QQQ is NASDAQ, right? But remember that semiconductors is what moves when tech moves. So what is in semiconductors is ETF. TSM, right, is 10% of it. Okay, NVDA is 8% of it. QCOM is 5%. TXN is 5%. Intel is 4.8%. Applied Materials. You have Marvel. You have what else? A bunch more, right? Okay, so all of those mainly, right? So now, if you're looking at this, the top two you should be looking at is NVIDIA and TSM, because this alone accounts for close to 19% of the entire ETF, right? So you should be looking at both TSM and NVIDIA. So NVIDIA here, and then we pull up TSM along that so that we can look at both of those charts heading into next week. Now, am I planning to play this today? Probably not, right? Probably not. Okay, so with TSM, let's have a look, right? Extending what we were looking at from last week and beyond. So this is how you do case studies, and this is how you you come up with your thesis for the next week, right? Okay, so we know the previous range was here, and then your pivot for TSM is going to be at about $89, right? And let's look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA approaching the top channel here. I made a Instagram reel, which you guys will be looking at, I think probably today or tomorrow, on Instagram, talking about a case study for semiconductors heading into next week, and you guys will see that. It's going to be posted on our socials. But we saw some out the money weekly sweeps being bought on right after FOMC. I believe I was talking to somebody on Discord about this. And we can see NVIDIA is starting to peekaboo out of this trend line, right? So we want to see the confirmation by having a breakout above 181 and then a bounce on 181 of some kind. The breakout, if you want to play the breakout, you could, because we're not really far from the breakout here. And quite honestly, if we have a pullback back to 173, it would also be a decent entry. We can see a bounce on NVIDIA to play the upside here. The upside is pretty nice, and there's an upside all the way into $200 here. Okay, so NVIDIA has a really nice upside. Now that if we can confirm that NASDAQ is indeed lagging from the S&P 500, okay? So SMH and NVIDIA and TSM. These are top watches right now. They are top watches. You have to keep this in the back of your head when you're trading. Good morning. What's up, Seabert? Welcome into the pre-market live. Glad to have you here. Hope that what you're watching is helpful for you. Or if you just turned up, then you might want to watch replay later. We're covering some important things today. So, as I mentioned, very important to build your thesis, and then you can start thinking, okay, this is my game plan. This is the way I'm going to look at the market. This is the macro factors driving the market. Remember that equities get more strengthened with the dollar weakening. You have, the market pricing in all kinds of recovery here. So you got to be forward looking, and then you got to know it's not just enough to know what moves in the market. It's more so understanding what will yield you the highest return for that move. See, after 10 years of doing this, it's not necessarily understanding if the market's going up or market's going down. That's like telling me if a lemon is ripe or not ripe. You know, any idiot can do that, right? What is the most important thing for you to do is to determine which lemon is going to give you the best squeeze of juice. You get what I'm saying? Which lemon is going to give you the best squeeze of juice? That's the main thing you got to figure out in the stock market, okay? So sometimes when you're looking at these things, you got to build a case study and then observe if you have those confirmations. And when you do, you play those confirmations to the upside, okay? Try to remain non-biased, obviously. We could still get rejected. Things can happen, okay? So if things do indeed go against you, then you take the opposing side. The most important thing is don't remain biased and always be maneuverable with your ability to get in and out of positions, change your bias frequently. Don't get stuck in one specific way of thinking, okay? That's an important lesson from today. So these three, I'll be watching until next week. I'll have more about this after price action close for this week over here, and then we'll talk about it on Monday again on the pre-market stream. Amazon, is it worth it to play Amazon today? Probably not, okay? Run up pretty hard already, and it's likely to reject in this region. Okay, there is a dual zone right here. And personally, I will not be touching Amazon. I've already added shares, like way here in this region. So I don't really care about playing the options here. I'll just leave this one be. Even Microsoft, I'm done. I'll wait for the wave down, and then I'll see where it's going to land. Okay, Tesla, this one looks interesting. Possible breakout and then a possible run up into 900s. This one's a possibility for a 0-day expiry play today. I do like the possibility of playing this one today. We'll see how this pans out on the Discord today. I'm going to be training with the team, and then we can definitely catch this one to the upside. We played Tesla yesterday as well during the live trading session, I believe. Let me just consult my trading journal really quickly. Yeah, so we played 820 puts, and then we played 810 puts after that. We played both downside plays. I didn't take a call position because I didn't get an entry on it. Currently at 6K for the week. Not a really amazing week. You know, but still, you know, it's still all right considering all things equal. You know, we had a pretty interesting week, and I wasn't really feeling it this week. And you can see I really took very much less risk this week. Just going off my trading journal from last week, you can see from last week I took a lot more risk, and the results were a lot more bleak. This week I'm taking a lot less risk, and I'm getting about the same results. So what I do know in this week compared to last week is that I'm more efficiently trading off my capital this week than I am last week. Okay. Which is a good thing. That means I'm improving, okay? Journaling is so important. Once you do this correctly, you know what metrics to track, then you can definitely start to understand where you're going right and where you're going wrong, okay? Another trade that we did look at yesterday was Moderna short, and I think it's up pre-market here. I'm not going to immediately sell this position at the open, but I'm going to wait to see if it rejects here and comes back. Another thing that I'm watching is the healthcare ETF for an inverse head and shoulder here. And we got a nice pin bar yesterday before the close, the 4-hour candle before the close. So this might be a nice opportunity into the upside, and I'll be looking to take this to the upside. If we do, then this will be a nice risk-to-reward ratio play to the upside. So then your other plays are going to be, let's see what XLV holdings are, because I myself do not really know what XLV holdings are, top holdings. XLV top holdings. Let's have a look. You have to search all these things up, guys. You have to look at it, okay? You have to look. So let's look at this, ETF.com, blah, blah, blah. Okay, what are the top 10 holdings? BBB, okay. Top 10, here we go. United Health is 10%, Johnson & Johnson 9%, Pfizer 5%, AbbVie 5%. Okay, so all of these, right? And then Merck and Company. Okay, so we would want to take these two because they make up 10% each. That's double the weight of any ones that are after that. So J&J and United Health, those are the two. Sympathies if XLV starts to rally, so we can look at both of those. McDonald's also rallied, by the way, after waiting for a whole week. We covered this on the first live stream that we were back. McDonald's went brazy, right? Okay, so let's look at J&J real quick. Still in this little downtrendy kind of I'd say kind of downtrendy. And then UNH. So UNH looks beautiful, right? UNH looks beautiful. This one's interesting. UNH, is it flirting with all-time high? It is indeed. It is indeed. UNH is flirting with all-time high. So it's sub all-time high right now. That means we're looking at a break of 553.47. So I'm going to add a couple of alerts right here. This will be one. Get another alert right here so that, you know, I get alerted as it moves on the way up. So right here. There we go. Okay. So we're kind of set for this one. Break above and then a retest here in this region. We'll see the upside further on UNH. And then the supply zone is going to be way above at 580 and 590. So UNH might be a decent one to play. But we'll see if we can actually get entry on this one. It's kind of like in a megaphone pattern right now. And we'll see if this actually plays along in this pattern and continues on upward. So these are a few things, okay? Two sectors next week that are looking bullish. First sector, semiconductors within the NASDAQ. Second sector, healthcare, okay? But it's yet to break out, so we have to wait for confirmation. And obviously technology stocks in general, right? And then Costco, also looking beautiful for upside play, sitting at a key pivot here. These are all the things that I'm watching. Okay, so that's all I have for you guys in terms of coverage. I know that was a lot. That was a lot to cover today. But guess what? You know what? That's what you get when you attend these streams. It's a flabbergaster of information for you to discern in whichever way you will. I hope that it's helpful for you. Any tickers that you guys want me to break down? I can take a couple of ticker breakdowns. Is there any ticker breakdowns that you guys need or have any questions? Go ahead, post them right now. And I'm gonna get to them right now. Might want to play a reversal play on Meta here as well, by the way. This is another trade that I want to take. I'll wait a couple minutes to see if you guys have any questions, ticker breakdowns, anything like that. If you can, while you're here, once again, smash the like button. Truly appreciate it if you can. It's really important to me because otherwise this stream will not reach others. So I truly, really appreciate it. Thanks, man. So glad you're back. No problem, Siebert. I'm glad that I'm back too. It feels nice being back. It's about to be an interesting Friday here. I'm gonna wait a couple minutes here. Does anybody have any tickers that they want me to break down? Thank you for liking the stream, guys. I really truly appreciate it. I really do. Love these. Thank you, Anthony. I appreciate you. You know, turning up, being consistent. I see you guys. I know the names that are here. Even Salim, Ivan. You know, I know that you guys are always here. So I appreciate it. Thank you. See you in live. Awesome. See you on the Discord, man. I'm really hoping that we can get a pullback on SPX today. That's what I'm really waiting for here. F, Ford. You want to break down Ford? Okay, let's do it. Ooh, oh boy. Yeah, this one's interesting, right? They had some bullish news too. I think they released some, it was electric vehicle for police use, right? I believe. F2 something. It was some kind of a car that they, I think it was an electric car maybe. So it's breaking out of a downtrend. I like that. But then we also range bound here. It has to break above $14. Yeah, it has to break where it is right now. It's already decently up, but it has to pull back after it breaks out. Kind of want to see one of these, or even, you know, if it pulls back into 1350 range, I'm still okay with that. But it needs to pull back and accumulate some demand here before it moves again, to really confirm this uptrend. That's what I'm waiting for on Ford here, if you can see that. Based on this wave here, you could definitely forecast a fib extension. That means that it's just at the 38.2 right now. And then the 61.8 is going to be at 1467, 1470, let's just say. So it does have a little bit of room to go. Maybe about $1 more, I would say. That's what I would say. Yeah, it has about $1 to go with Ford. I personally don't like playing this with options because the delta move doesn't make sense. Like, you got to always think about it from the delta perspective. Options, they get their value from delta. And each $1 move in the stock is what delta is going to be added onto the option. Now, I know these options are very cheap, but to me, it's just, for a bigger portfolio, it's just not a good use of capital sometimes. And then there's the problem of filling size. Like, for example, let's say the options contract, like for me personally, right? I'm talking, this is a problem for bigger accounts, is let's say the option's like 30 or 40 cents, right? In order for me to fully put on the risk that I want, I would have to take like 100 contracts, 200 contracts. And then I know 100 contracts is probably not that bad. 200 contracts get sometimes problematic to fill. Like if you're doing a limit order, especially if you're trying to get the price that you want. That's one of the reasons why I avoid it. I rather just buy equity and then just play the rally. But yeah, I think $14.18 bounce. That means a breakout here and then a bounce back would be nice into the upside. That's what I would say. Okie dokie. Well, I'm glad that you know, some of you are finding the live stream helpful, and I really appreciate you guys taking your time out to be here. I'll see you guys back on Monday again. Till then, take care. Have a great weekend. And yeah, Peace, guys.